Hey everybody, sorry for that little delay. My overlay was acting up on me, but uh, screw you again, and I am going to dub over the second part of my match against Personman in the Dominion League. And we can see the board here. I think that Replace is going to be a pretty key card, both for the attack and for the ability to get rid of the estates. And also, I think that it's going to be really central to the rest of the game too, because uh, provinces are really the win condition here, and replaces good at turning golds into provinces. Courtier can be gaining golds to buy provinces. So I think that's the gist of it. So I take a second to analyze the board. And I think storyteller is gonna be really key for enabling like everything. I think that getting storytellers and playing around those, playing them correctly or optimally to do what you want to do that shuffle is gonna be really key. And the opponent, Person Man, gets to open with a 5-2, which we don't know that just because he bought a lighthouse, but spoilers, that is what happens. So he gets to open with a lighthouse and a replace. So I don't get to do that, and I think that that puts me on the back foot right off the bat. So I know I need to get a replace. So I open with a silver and another silver. Now, in retrospect, one of those silvers really should have been a lighthouse because the attack is actually super relevant. You'll see that Person Man takes some time to thin his estates to turn them into islands, which gives me curses in the process, and he gets to top deck those and thin his deck a little bit. And now, is that the best thing for his deck? I don't know. I don't really know what his situation is when he's doing that, but I do know that it sets me way far back because it's so hard to get rid of those curses, and it means that I can't be cursing him if I want to be thinning the curses with replace, turning them into lighthouses. But I should have respected the replace attack a little more and gotten a lighthouse turn earlier than I did, or maybe a little earlier just in general. So you'll see right off the bat here, he turns an estate into an island, and I get a curse because of it. So that's my problems are starting right off the bat, and I'm seizing up, as you can see. In fear, my mouse is going all over the place. So he's thinking about what he wants to do. He grabs a lighthouse, and I think that's a good call because you'll notice I do have a replace in my deck now, and every time that I draw my replace to the point that I could attack him, he's got a lighthouse out. So that's a big. I think that I was set off on the back foot by him opening with a 5-2, but I was even further disadvantaged by not picking up lighthouses as plentifully as I needed to, as early as I needed to. I think the only time I passed up on lighthouse when I should have gotten it is when I opened with that second silver, but if that had been a lighthouse, things might have gone way differently. I wouldn't have this curse in my deck and then in my hand right now, so that's a thing. And Person Man has picked up a Storyteller, and he plays it as a cantrip. He only devotes $1 to it. I'm not exactly sure why. I feel like he could have gotten a little more out of this turn if he had put a little more money into the Storyteller, but I'm not really sure what he's looking at either. So he puts an island away, and he puts a copper away with it. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. Did he keep the estate? Was that an estate in his hand? Did he not want to draw to his replace with his storyteller? Did he want to make sure that he could attack me by turning the estate into... I'm a little confused as to what he did there, but I'm more focused on me and what I want to do. So I hit 4 here, and I go ahead and grab a duplicate. The thing is, I want a lot of fivers, storytellers, more replaces, and eventually courtiers when we get to that point. But and when we get to the point where I can capitalize on that with storyteller deck control. Um, and I know that I did not line my replace up with an estate this time, so I know that I'm going to have estates in my next hand, so I go ahead and top deck a replace instead of a storyteller. Also, just in general, the replace is going to be good for my deck. He attacks me again, because I don't have lighthouse coverage, so shame on me for not getting more lighthouses. Um, there's also, I get there's an aspect of luck here too, in that he happens to always have the lighthouses out when I am playing replaces, but he has them because he bought them, so it's hard to say exactly how much of this was because of me not respecting the role of lighthouse well enough, or versus um, just how the shuffles happen to fuffle. So I trashed the estate, and there's no need. I don't think that the island is the best card for my deck, so there's no reason for me to get it because I'm not gonna attack him with it. I don't actually see how much value the islands are really gonna provide to me in the next shuffle or so. So, what do I end up gaining here? I go with the silver. That could have been a lighthouse, and that would have been totally fine if that were a lighthouse. I go with the silver because I feel like I want to hit 5 more often than I have been hitting 5. So I don't know if I'm sold one way or the other, which one would have been better. So he plays his storyteller. And let's see, if I were him, I'd be wanting to draw 4 exactly to get to a clean shuffle. I don't know what exactly he's looking at, but I don't. I'm assuming that he just wants to get to the point where the storyteller and the lighthouse aren't going to miss. He decides to draw 3 cards and gets his duplicate out and takes himself a silver. And oh, if I remember here, I thought this was a little odd on his part. He decides to call the duplicate and get a second silver. Whereas I feel like the role of the duplicate here is to really be getting storytellers and replaces, and that's a lot better than getting silvers with it. But I don't know, maybe he needs the econ. So I'm thinking about what to do here. And what do I end up doing? Probably shouldn't skip around like that, yeah. Um, yeah, it doesn't really matter. So he gets to attack me a third time. So all 3 times that he trashed his estates, he got to give me curses with them. So that's again a mix of bad shuffle luck on my part and me not respecting the attack well enough to get islands as early as I need them. So I do have the islands in my deck now, but it's kind of too little too late, yeah. I've got the curses, so that's going to be a huge detriment going forward. Um, and we are looking at him hitting 5 here, and I feel like he wants another storyteller at this point. He's not drawing very much consistently. You don't, so he goes ahead and gets the courtier and duplicates it. That's fine because you do want courtiers for the end game. In my opinion, neither of our decks are there yet. To the point, I think that storyteller is the best card for both of our decks. I think I've got 2 extra replaces in here just because I'm so junked up, and I want to use them to get storytellers. But the whole idea here is that storyteller isn't going to help you drawing your deck very often, but it is the only tool here that you can use to draw your deck, and drawing your deck is rewarding here, especially with the courtier gain and play stuff and what have you. And of course, I think the storyteller gives you the best turns that you can have. So even if you're not drawing your whole deck with the storyteller, I think that you're getting as more value. And I pick up a settlers for 4 here, which is a little weird. So on the one hand, I understand why I did it because the village is something I need. I've got the storyteller draw, more storytellers than he does, and I've got um, 3 terminals in my deck that I'd like to play. So revealing the village is quite good, but it's good for him too. So he's got the courtiers, and he doesn't have the storytellers yet, but he can get them. So I might have wanted to think about what else I would have bought. I think that maybe the main reason I did it was that I didn't really see anything else I wanted to buy sub $5. So he's got 4. He's deciding what he wants to do with that. He gets the humble castle. I think castles are pretty ignorable here. I don't think that castles really should factor into anything that we're doing here, but he goes ahead and gets that. I'm looking at that as me, like, what I'm saying on my end is like, oh, okay, I'm way behind, but I might be in it if he decides to go for castles. If he decides to waste time going for castles, I might still have a shot to catch up because then I will have taken the time to build the deck that you should be building here, and he will have gone for castles, and then we'll kind of be about even. But we will see about that. I mean, maybe you replace things into castles to give your opponent more curses. Like that's valid, I think. Uh, you know, tactically, depending what's going on the rest of the board. And here I draw my 2 replaces. I'm a little sad about that. My goal really here is just that I need to hit 5 so that I can get a bustling village and then duplicate the bustling village. Because the village is really good for me. I need it. It's the most important card to my deck right now, and that I'm missing. And I haven't really been going for the settlers because I think they're good, because I think I need them or anything. I've kind of been going for them because I haven't really wanted to buy anything sub $5, and I haven't really hit 5 as much as I wanted to, and that's probably a mistake on my part. Like I could have been taking things like, silvers and lighthouses, and that would have been pretty okay. So I'm deciding what to do about this with my replace, and I can hit 5 and get 2 bustling villages. And I think what I end up doing here is actually replacing the replace to top deck a storyteller, and then buying bustling village and getting 2. Of course, I've got the villages in my deck, but now I don't. Then I don't have the terminals, and it's kind of like that story where the lady like sells her hair to get this guy a wallet, and then or a pocket watch chain, and then he sells the pocket watch to get her a comb, and then they don't have what they, yeah, that's what happened, right? Yeah. So that is, oh, okay, that's not at all what I did. All right, great. So if you're done listening to me ramble about that weird Oscar Wilde Christmas tale thing, um, let's get back to the game. So what is he doing here? He reveals Island. I don't know exactly what he chooses to do. So he takes money and he sets something aside. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he wanted a gold there. I'm not really sure exactly what the situation he was looking at is. I am looking at the ability to thin my estate, and what do I do there? I go ahead and turn the estate into a top decked silver. Okay. and then I'm looking at what to buy for 4. I'm really just kind of spinning my wheels. Anytime I don't hit 5 here, I'm really sad about it. So I go ahead and grab the pilgrimage. Setting that up seems kind of important, so um, we are looking at exactly what we want to be doing. Alright, so he goes ahead and top decks a bustling village with his replace, and he grabs another lighthouse. I'm not actually convinced that lighthouse is that good of a card if you're not worried about being attacked here. I mean, it's fine, but I don't know. You might take nothing over the lighthouse, and it's probably a pretty marginal difference between lighthouse or nothing. So I'm thinking about what I want to do. Do I want to? I decide to get the duplicate on the tavern mat instead of playing the replace. That might have been pretty wrong actually, but I also get to pilgrimage, which makes me excited to gain a storyteller. Okay with gaining a silver, and probably just not wanting to gain this last thing. I could get a lighthouse, but this pile is getting a little low, and he's ahead, so lowering piles is not really in my interest. I mean, I know storytellers are going to run. I think they are. So let's see. At this point, him being so far ahead, I think he should really just be rushing provinces with his replaces and courtiers and just buying them with the golds. Um, I think that, it's turn 15. Um, one of us should have really gotten provinces by now, I think. Not saying that by turn 15 you should always have started getting provinces, but I think on this board you really can. So he's thinking about what to do there. I'm going to speed along. He's still thinking about that. What does he end up taking? What bonuses? Probably, what, coins gold? Or buy gold? I don't know if he has another storyteller in hand. Okay, he takes buy and coins, plays his duplicate. He does not have another storyteller in hand, and now he's got 9 and 2 buys. What does he do? I think he wants to take a storyteller and a pilgrimage is probably my guess. He grabs a replace. That's fine. He doesn't. That's his second replace, I think. So, he wants one of those. He takes a replace and a pilgrimage. That's reasonable. I like the storyteller. Oh, and he pops his pilgrimage. That's even better. Oh, okay. Yeah. This turn makes a lot more sense knowing that he was gonna have his pilgrimage turn. Alright, so maybe I wanted to play the bustling village first, see if I could draw another treasure off of it, but I decide to pay my storytellers to draw me a bunch of cards. And at this point, I get everything out there. Maybe I wanted to hold on to one of those coppers because I just realized I'm not hitting 5 this turn because of what I did. So, it's a bit of a problem. Although, I think what I end up doing is trashing Curse into Lighthouse. And then, although Curse and the Copper would have been valid too, um, just to keep the Lighthouse pile from emptying on me. Oh, no. Okay. Duplicate that. Oh, okay. So doing it this way lets me draw the courtiers this turn, and that's the advantage I get out of that, which is probably worth it. I mean, I was gonna get two courtiers with my turn. That's what I needed to do. Get a hit 5, get a courtier, duplicate it, and do another courtier. That was the clear move, and I had to lose a replace to do it the way I did it, but I got to play them both this turn. So I kind of like that trade-off. I think that's if I could go back and do it again, I think I would have done it that way. Yeah. I definitely need the courtiers, so I get an estate out of my curse, and I think I'm really just doing that so that I don't lower this lighthouse pile. Um, we've already got lighthouses and storytellers low, and I know storytellers are gonna run, not just in retrospect. You can just look at this board and probably understand that storytellers are gonna run. So what are we looking at here for him? All right, he's deciding. He probably has a storyteller in hand and is deciding how many cards he wants to draw, is my guess. And skip along. Okay, no, he just starts playing treasures. And he gets the province, so the starter pistol has been fired. That's, I don't know. That's probably fine, but he could have also just gotten a storyteller. Like, he's made his deck better. Or a replace, maybe. Like, he's fine with lowering piles. I don't know what it is, how many bustling villages he got. No, yeah, bustling villages gives you insane amounts of terminal space. He could have gotten another replace or another courtier, or another storyteller, I think, and just made his deck better. In the meantime, to have multi-province turns later on, like, he doesn't care at all about lowering piles. He's got the lead. But, once he has a province in his deck, he can start turning province into province, and if I don't have lighthouses out cursing me with that, with replace. So I gain a gold with my courtier, and I do that at the cost of hitting 8 this turn, which I'm kind of okay with because I the gold is going to be a province later, basically. So it's not a huge deal that I don't hit 8 right away, and I decide that the duplicate has kind of lived out its usefulness, and top decking a storyteller is a little more appealing, and I think I actually just decide to get the last storyteller because I need it. No, I buy a gold, which is also, I think, fine because the golds are a pretty important card for when I get to this point where I am drawing my deck uh, with Overdrawn having the golds in hand. So the golds help feed the storytellers too. So I guess that's fine buying the gold. I think I probably need this last storyteller, uh, or maybe one of us does. Maybe the valid call on my part would have been to just leave the storyteller in the pile. To keep the game from ending too quickly out of my favor. So he plays his humble castle to draw some cards with his storyteller. Draws a little bit with his settlers. We can speed this along, I think. Continues on, doing his thing. Yep. He's got his duplicate out on his tavern mat now. He plays a courtier to reveal Lighthouse. gets buying coins. You see him continue to have mini seizures over here. My big question here is, does he have a storyteller in his hand? I believe he should, right? Because of the way he's playing his courtiers, that leads me to believe he has a storyteller, which means that he might want to gain a gold with this. What does he end up doing? Buying coins? Okay, he does not have a storyteller in hand. Gotcha. Okay, so he gets just short of double province, but he does get this last storyteller and another province. So I'm in a very scary position here because once these lighthouses are gone, oh, and he grabs one and he duplicates it. So I've really just got this turn. But if I remember correctly, this is the turn where my deck comes together in the way that I kind of envisioned the whole game going had things gone a little more according to plan. But you see him just kind of getting as much money out as I can and drawing with these storytellers. And at this point, I need to stop and consider gain and play tricks because I've got the courtiers in hand. And I decided to draw a little bit more beforehand, but it'll be courtier reveal and get money and coins, or buy in coins, and draw the rest of my deck with that storyteller, and then go ahead and get another buy and gain a gold is probably what I do here. Oh, money and gold. Oh, and then no need to get the buy because I'm gaining 3 provinces this turn. Okay, so get a 1 province, 2 province, red province, blue province, and let's see, yep, and get province and probably just get the duchy, yeah. Oh, um, so, oh, okay, oh, yeah, no, the island, 2 points is as good as 3 points in this case, because the big metric here is, do I get another turn? And taking a 1-point lead is kind of the same as taking a 2-point lead in that respect. And the island, that makes the island kind of strictly better, just because, you know, I could do something with it at some point if I happen to draw it. In this case, I really doubt it's going to matter. I just decided that the island is a better card in general for the deck if I do happen to get more turns. But that's kind of the way that... And I believe if I had gotten another turn, I might have been able to close the game out, depending what happened with this. But I do not. Spoilers. He is going to go ahead and have... What does he end up doing? Actually, let's watch this and see if it matters with the, whether I took the island or the duchy. Alright. So he gets to turn a storyteller into a duchy. It would not have mattered. Yep. Okay, so, yeah, he gets to gain a duchy off his replace and then get the last 2 lighthouses. So he closes out the game that way, but, you know, I am not super upset. It was a close game, and we will go ahead and finish out our league match later. And thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Alright, how do I turn this off? Stupid overlay.